of the lathe, and these two machines are different, but there's a lot of similarities. We'll start with this guy, and as I'm naming the parts, you can write them down. I don't know why I have that list because they're not on there. Okay, so I'm just going to look at your list. Number one right here, this is called the chuck, the thing that rotates. The thing, let's see, yeah, let me look at that. So number two is pointing to these little things right here. They're in the shape of a V. They're called ways, W-A-Y-S. And they allow this guy here, which we'll get to in a minute, to move back and forth. All right. Number three on that list is pointing to this guy here. This is called the tail, or sometimes the tail stock. And while we're on the tail, we'll go to number four. Number four is pointing to this red handle, and this is called the clutch. It's actually used to, right now the machine's off, but it's used to turn the machine on and off. And then number five is pointing to this guy here. This is called the head. So we have the head and the tail. To help you out a little bit. And then number six on that list is pointing to this. This is called the apron, this big thing right here. And I think of it as, you know, when you're cooking and you wear an apron, it covers the front of your body. Well, this kind of covers up all these threads and the internal parts and stuff. And then number seven down here is called the chip pan. Chip pan. And as you can see, it catches all the chips as you're cutting stuff on the lathe. That should be clean. At the end of the day, you should vacuum that up. All right. Okay, then the next page, number 8 is pointing to this guy. This is called the tool post, or the tool holder. Let's go with that, tool holder. And I guess technically this is the tool post. This would be the tool holder. That's the tool, I guess, if we're to follow that correctly. Main thing you need to know is that's where the tool goes. All right, so the tool post, tool holder, and the tool itself. All right, and you know, when it's actually on there, that's kind of how it mounts. We'll go over how to mount it and adjust the height and stuff in a little bit. All right, and then this number 9 is pointing to this. This is called the cross slide, because it moves across the lathe. And what else we got? Oh, that, okay. One other thing I'm going to point out, I don't think I have an arrow pointing to it, but this is called the top slide. So we have the top slide and the cross slide.
That's the top slide.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's the top slide. That's the cross slide. Top slide, cross slide. And I'm going to give you a quiz on this, but I'm not. It's not going to be on paper. I'm just going to point to the part, and you're going to tell me what it's called. All right. What they're called is not as important as how you use them, but it's still important so that when I say, hey, make sure that the chuck is tightened up, you know what I'm talking about. What's the chuck? You know. All right. Okay, that's actually not the right side. Oh, there we go. So this, since this is the chuck, this guy is going to be the chuck key. All right. And you use it to tighten up the chuck. And I will tell you multiple times, never take your hands off the chuck key when it's in the chuck. All right. Anybody want to take a guess as to why that's a bad idea?
When that spins around.
Because when that sucker starts spinning up, this is going to spin around, and more often than not, it doesn't go flying off. It just swings around and hits the machine, and then knocks the chuck out of alignment. We try to avoid that. All right, damage the machine, and it takes time to readjust stuff. All right, and a couple other things I'm going to add on there, and I swore that I had a picture with this on here. These are dials and levers to adjust the speed on here. We're just going to call this the speed dial selector, and it's got letters A through D on it, and you can actually turn that so that you can turn it to a different speed. And then, so this is the speed dial selector, and then this is the high and low lever. All right. And maybe one last thing, this is the on and off switch. Kind of important.
What's the bottom lever?
This one, that is actually used when you're doing threading. This can move back and forth, and think of a bolt. You can actually use a lathe to cut the threads on a bolt. You know, I'm talking about like these threads. This is probably done on a lathe, and this will move back at a specific rate, and you can use that to adjust which direction it moves. All right, any other questions? Okay.